what's your take on a remake?
Amir Khan, has gone and made a remake of Forrest Gump because he wants to show his audience that movie.
Is Bollywood following originality right now?
People are watching OTT, people are watching TV also. But theatre is a medium that's never going to die out.
In an era of short-form content, how do films stay afloat? Hi, my name's Karishma Sheth and I'm your host. Welcome back to Foundrr Pod. Today we have someone really special with us, Mr. Rajat Agrawal, and he's the COO of Ultra Media. So Rajat, hi, please tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me how is it being the second generation of such a big business?
Hi Karishma, thank you for the introduction. So being the second gen of the company is definitely exciting, but it also comes with its set of responsibilities. What I'm trying to do right now is fill in the gaps, basically, which probably were there and were unseen, or explore newer avenues within the company. So, to start with, one example that I can think on top of my head is the music vertical. We can definitely see a boom in music, and that's something that, we're trying to revive within the company. And so these are the things, basically, AI is coming into the picture. We've already set up an AI team and we're trying to see what we can do with AI in terms of content creation and also within the company. So organizationally, basically. Now, when I talk about organizationally, how we can build it into a more corporate structure, what we call it today. So these are the basically areas that I'm focusing on. My dad is still, he's the head of the company. We discuss and we, collaborate. He guides me on whatever I want to do. And in a way, basically, we're holding hands with each other. And whenever, if there is a need for him to catch me while I'm falling, he does that. And a few times, if he's probably going in the wrong direction, I can step in. So it's kind of being like a support system within the company and also reforming a few areas within the company.
Nice. So can you tell me a little bit more about what it is to, take the baton from your father? The first generation obviously must be very traditional at the methodologies and the ways, that they conduct their businesses.
Yeah.
So is it tough? Is it like you see a lot of, rejection for some of your ideas that are more, new gen or?
No, not really. Not really. Now I've been working for 10 years in the company. And to be honest, for the first 7 to 8 years, I focused only on one area. So I was trying to understand the business and there's so much to learn. I feel that I'm still learning a lot. Like even though I've been working for 10 continuous years, I feel there's still so much to learn because the business side of movies is relatively complicated. People see the glamorous side of it, but sometimes what people don't see, or probably they're not interested in seeing also, which is fair enough because obviously the PAPs and the other media tend to focus on the glamorous side of it. But the business side of it is equally interesting. And in these couple of last years, I think I've taken on and tried to take on more responsibilities. So that's been interesting. And no, it's not about, I don't think there are any rejection of ideas as such. Like that's the kind of dynamic that we've created in the higher, within the management of the company, that it's not about rejection. It's about, there's a lot of contemplation that happens, because the company itself has seen so many phases, from VCDs to DVDs to the satellite era to the digital era. Now, if there was no pivoting and there was rejection of ideas, the company wouldn't have lasted for 42 years or 43 years.
True.
So I don't think that we're those kind of people who reject ideas. Even if there's someone from the team who does it, we don't do it. So definitely something comes from me. There's no one who's rejecting it. But obviously not everything is gold. Not every idea that you think of is gold. So we try to see the future within the entertainment industry and we try to adapt. And then some things might work, some things might not work.
Interesting. And as you rightfully pointed out, a lot of the audience also must be assuming that this is more glamorous than it is. I want to know a bit more about the business development side, the administrative side, the non-glamorous part of the rights or the movie business.
So to be honest, to some extent, it's like any other business. It's more transactional. Mm-hmm. But I have personally been a creative person. I still am an aspiring filmmaker in the sense that I will direct my first feature film sometime in the future. But till that happens, I'm a businessman. And uh, when you talk about the difference between the business side and the glamorous side, obviously the business side is something that people don't know about or people don't talk about. The rights business, as we call it, and it's fine. Like I mean, we were doing a podcast like this so that people can understand, and I hope that more people from the business side of the industry come out and talk about it. But it's interesting, like what we do is we buy the rights from the producers or any other right holders, and then we sell them to digital platforms, to satellite channels, and all of that. And we have our own OTT platforms. We have our own YouTube presence. So basically, for us, making money is we buy the entire orange and then we sell a slice by slice, and then we try to see how we can make a profit out of it. So that, I don't know how glamorous it is, but it's definitely interesting for me at least.
What I want to know is, in an era of Netflix, Amazon Prime, and so many OTT platforms, how is Ultra Media staying afloat? Because honestly, that's a household name for generations. My grandma knows about Ultra Media. So, it's so traditional and it's so set in its ways. Everybody knows the name, but there's random new giants coming in like Netflix. How are you staying afloat? What is the strategy?
In a way, we partner with them, right? So with like a Netflix or an Amazon or any other OTT platform, they are the ones to whom we sell the films. They are the ones to whom we sell the movies that we have the rights to. So in a way, they are the buyers of our content. So it's not like they are a competition. In fact, they are partners. We also have our own OTT platforms that we recently launched. We launched 3: Ultra Play, Ultra Jackass, and Ultra Gane. But I don't see that as a competition. What we are trying to do with our OTT platforms is very different. You said that your grandmother knows about it. With these, our idea is that even you and your other friends know about it. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to revive the entire name, and not revive. Revive is not the correct word because people still know about it, but like reach out to the younger generation in a better way. So that's what we're doing with our OTT platforms and our YouTube presence. Yeah.
And what's your take on remakes? I mean, touching ground on appealing to the younger audiences. What's your take on a remake, on a classical remake?
So many movies are being remade today, and again, I feel that is for the newer generation to see the films that the older generation saw and grew up on. It's as good as saying that basically, why do you do a remake of an international movie in India and vice versa? It's basically because you want the current audience to see that film and that story, which is probably not something that would be of interest in another language, or if made it from another era. Maybe, maybe not. So that's why there are so many remakes that are happening right now. And I feel that it should not be looked down upon. Obviously, I don't want every movie that is coming out of the Indian film industry to be a remake of some other movie, because then there will be no originality, and writers will just be rewriting someone else's content. But once in a while, probably like few films in a year, if they're remade, and if they do justice to it, if they do justice to the original film or the original show, in whatever the case might be, I think it's fine. Like, there are so many films that I could think of that I would like for the newer generation to see if they have not seen the original film. Yeah.
So you think it's a great idea to actually appeal to the younger audiences that aren't aware about the
previous? Yeah. I mean, why do you think like someone like Amir Khan, who's such a big actor, who himself takes so much interest in the filmmaking process, and has gone and made a remake of Forrest Gump, because he wants to show his audience that movie. A lot of India is such a big country with such a vast population. So many people have probably not seen Forrest Gump. So he wanted his audience to see that movie.
But aren't most of these remakes a hit or a miss? I mean, it's an extreme, Most of the people don't really take well to remakes, especially if they're fans of the original.
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, what I said earlier, that you'd make it with an intention to do justice to the original film. So many times a movie is made just to replicate the IP name. Like, for example, a title is taken and the same title is used in a newer film, and it's not doing justice. It becomes a money-making scheme.
The story is
for lack of better words, So if that becomes the intention, then obviously there will be negativity. But at the same time, with the social media era, I think one of the industry that faces a lot of backlash is the entertainment industry. And that's something that we cannot do too much about. Like, we can try and we can talk about it as much as possible, and we can do interviews, we can do image cleaning and all of that. But the entertainment industry invariably faces a lot of backlash. But I strongly feel that if the content is made well, if it's a remake, it will find its audience and it will do well.
Fair enough. What I want to know is, in an era of short form content, how do films stay afloat? The attention span of an average person has reduced highly compared to the earlier times. So at this point, they need, constant frame changes, a lot of backdrop music, different visuals. There's a lot of more components that determine whether a film is successful today than it did before. Algorithms rule over stars today. So what is your take on that? What do you think about that?
I think if you take historically also, there has not only been one format of content that has existed. There has always been news, there has always been TV series, and there has always been movies. Now, in some way or the other, a person gets entertained by all three of these. Now then came web series, but that did not mean that TV series went out of the picture. Anupama is a great example. People still are watching it and it's still going great. But that does not mean it's like a web series has taken the share of TV series. Obviously, it must have reduced. But same with short also. Same with short form, vertical, micro, whatever name you give it. It's still a growing industry, or it's still a growing format. Not an industry, it's still a growing format. And people who are probably interested in quick consumption, like maybe if you're on a train, maybe if you're traveling for 10 minutes, that might be a space. But imagine yourself, if you're sitting at home, you will not be watching a 2-minute episode, right? You probably will not be watching a 2-minute episode. You might do it for some time, but you're not going to do it for, like, if you are a content consumer who spends 2 hours every night watching some piece of content, you're not going to be watching vertical every night.
Definitely.
You will do it for some point of time, then you'll be like, Acha, now I want to go back to my film, I want to go back to my, conventional web series or TV series. So I think emerging formats are meant for coexistence. They are not meant for individuality, they're meant for coexistence only. Same thing with how people watch it. Now we talk about theaters, doing lesser business and people preferring OTT. Correct. People are watching OTT. People are watching TV also. But theater is a medium that's never going to die out.
Definitely.
Especially in various other smaller towns, and it's a very big source of entertainment that we don't know sitting here in Mumbai. We don't understand that. It's a very big source of entertainment for a family to go out of 4 on a weekend, spend time, watch a movie. Obviously, the movies that release in theater might be a little more handpicked. Every movie might not release in the theater as it used to earlier, and that's still the case. I mean, that's now the case, wherein every movie is not getting released in theater. It's finding its own, mode of exhibition. But I think this is also going to coexist. The mode of exhibition is also going to coexist, and the formats are also going to coexist.
So you feel like they're not competitors directly. Each serve their own purpose and individuality.
Yeah.
I mean, I would watch a reel in between, probably a break, but I would at night when I'm actually trying to wind down, I would sit and watch a whole movie or an episode.
I believe so, yeah. I mean, obviously, we'll see as things progress, and as I said, that vertical/micro is an emerging format. But I really feel that it's not going to take a very big share or a very big pie out of your conventional cinema.
Another thing I want to ask is, in terms of PR, how has the PR industry for films changed over the years? I mean, owing to the social media boom today, PR back in the day was more on ground and, not very digital. However, today PR is more digital in the sense there's tons of videos going on about. They're doing more digital campaigns than offline ones.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
So the answer's in the question only. I mean, it has become more digital and less conventional or less orthodox. But at the same time, it's good when you see. Now what happens is that when you see a film poster on a billboard, you know that it's become less frequent now. So I really don't know how that's playing out, because that should have become more frequent, but it's become less frequent now. So that, in fact, that has become more exclusive. For example, I just gave you an example of a billboard. But obviously, yeah, the digital era is taking over, and influencer marketing and your paid promotions, your performance marketing. All of these are the new drivers, and it's targeting individually your YouTube ads and all of that. So things have changed, but uh, I also feel that in today's time, the content is speaking much more volumes than it used to earlier.
Okay.
In terms of earlier, a well-marketed film would see a good 2 to 3 weeks of running.
Okay.
Now, a well-marketed film might not see that good of a second week if it's not good content.
Right.
Yeah.
Is
So
that
marketing is playing only just about a role that it can.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not about saturation. It's about the selectiveness, because now you have hundreds of things to watch, right? Earlier you had limitation that ye abhi aa raha hai TV par, or this is coming in the theaters, you watch that only. Now it's like, I will watch that movie if it is good, I will watch that series if it is good. And who decides if it is good? The other people who have seen it before. So the people who have seen it on the first Friday or the first Saturday or the first Sunday, they are the ones who are now becoming the deciding factors of the film's continuity. It's not the marketing anymore, but obviously you have to do a marketing just to keep that piece of
content relevant.
Content relevant.
So, I mean, is it safe to say that it's because of too many choices that we've become picky eaters?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Fair enough. I wanted to actually touch base on one thing. What's your opinion on AI when it comes to script writing? What do you think? Do you think AI today writes better scripts than the writers themselves do? Or do you think that the human touch is very highly needed when you're writing a script for a film?
So, disclaimer: we have never written a script on AI yet, but we have tested it. We have tried how things, we give a prompt and what it executes. I feel it's still far from what a human can write. Also, there is no clarity on the legality of it yet. We don't know if till now that if a chat GPT, for example, or if any other script writing AI tool, if it writes a script, what is the financial modality and the legal IP modality behind it? There is no clarity on that right now. So till people get clarity on it, I don't think it's anyway going to become a big thing. People will probably use it as a first draft, and that's good. You use it as first draft, you have your 80-90 pages in place so that you know what a structure of your idea, of your concept could look like, and then you get involved in it. So your 30% work basically is done by an AI tool, and then I still feel you should retain the rest 70% and get it done by a human, or do it yourself, basically, depending on who you are and what you want to do.
That's actually a very interesting opinion. What I want to know is, okay, let's say somebody wants to try and get into the rights business. There's a major barrier to entry.
Yes, major barrier.
Yeah. So how does it go? Is it always going to be that way, or at some point, do you think it's going to open up for other people to enter the industry?
See, I think why it's hard now is, again, going back to being a second gen of the company. What happened in the initial years of the company is that there was a lot of collection of rights of these movies that happened, when there was no clarity, when the producers were probably unaware or did not see that much of a future in the rights business, they said that, okay, we were done with our theatrical done, we've sold our DVD rights or VC, whatever it is, and now we can just give the film away, or, we can give rights for a really long time. And that's basically gold for us today. That's gold property, whatever you call it. That is appreciated in value. Yeah, that's basically appreciated. Now to buy that or to basically replicate that is very hard, because now everyone's become smart. Now it is not as easy to buy content as it was earlier. And if you're not able to buy content, what are you going to sell? So that is where the basic barrier comes into the picture. So it definitely is. If it was a low barrier entry market, there would be so many other players, but there are not. And also, this business is a very personal business. Any film that we are buying, we have a team of people who are looking at content to acquire. But eventually, we as the management have to take the final decision, because we need to feel the pulse of that cinematic content. Whether it's good, whether it's not good. If it did not run in the theaters, do we feel it's going to run elsewhere? Do we feel that it has that kind of value that it can maybe run on YouTube? Whatever it is. So it's a very personal business, and to have that patience is also difficult. It's not easy to watch titles on titles, content on content every day, even though, you can easily leave it to a team. And as companies grow, that's what they do. But this is such a uh, business that you need to be very personally involved.
Actually, to touch base on what you said, let's say as an individual, somebody is trying to enter the market. Do you think it's worth attempting to get in using networking, or do you think it's better off to actually just stick to the other side of it? Like, let's say rights as an individual segment. So when you're actually purchasing the rights, what kind of things go into it? How does the process begin from start to end? Let's say you found a film and you're not okay. You think that will not run in the theaters. What do you do with that? What's the next step to actually capitalize on the film?
No, so I mean, again, it's basically the who owns the right puts that film into the market, right?
Okay.
And then if I feel that there's a value in that piece of content, then I'll take a look at it. I'll study the project, and then if I still feel that it's worth giving a bid, so I'll give a bid. If some other partner or some other company in the industry feels that no, they also. So it's basically like it's it's like you're buying anything else. So it's the same thing. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So we've just demystified the whole process.
I couldn't get the detail of it, but this is the nutshell.
You're mystified. So I kind of wanted to touch base upon marketing and branding. So when you actually decide to take on a project, how does it go? What kind of checklist do you follow when it comes to branding and marketing?
So I'll talk about classic content because that's what we deal into more. We try to keep those movies relevant today. That's our major aim, and that's our biggest aim. What happens is that sometimes a movie that released maybe in the 2000s became popular, but then it did not see anything after that for another 10 years. So when we buy such a movie, it becomes very hard to get it back into the market and get it back into the public side. So we have to do activities like basically maybe like a re-release or something like that, or maybe pushing that content via YouTube channels, via OTT platforms. So as I mentioned earlier, we have our own OTT platform. So example on Ultra Play, that will be on the top of the carousel, things like that. And this example that I gave you is very interesting because now if we take an example of a lesser popular film in the 2000s, probably, again, I'm taking the example of 2000s. If we take a lesser popular film and that has stayed in the market, that will probably have a better recall value. And that's where the challenge of marketing older films comes into picture.
So is it safe to assume that it costs you more to market an older film, even though it's a classic, than it would to market a newer?
No, it's not about cost. I mean, obviously, we're not marketing an older film like how a newer film it gets marketing. I mean, crores of rupees are spent on it. There's a lot of involvement from the entire cast and crew. So that's definitely not what we undertake. But in terms, it's more how we can do it creatively than spending more. Using all our digital platform, basically, how we can do it in a more creative way, so that people are like, "Ha, acha, ye wo film thi. Yeah, this is a very good film. I'd like to watch it now again." That kind of we want this reaction. That if someone sees a poster on our social media, and for example, that now this movie is available on Ultra Play. For example, if Andaz Apna is available on Ultra Play, so we're like, oh, okay, let's watch Andaz Apna today. That's the kind of response that we hope for.
Like a memory trigger.
Yeah, like a memory trigger. Yeah.
Fair enough. And to kind of touch base on what you just said, theatrical or re-releases, is that why the trend suddenly picked up? It's that a form of marketing for films?
Maybe. I mean, see, late 2024, I think this trend started, and then some films worked very well. Some films did not work very well. And I think here there was a little bit of a different ploy that worked. It was basically films that were lesser heard of in these last 10 to 15 years. People probably consumed those films lesser on OTT, and then when it came on theater, it worked in the opposite way as what I would just mention.
Correct.
Now, which examples do I give you? I mean, there are a few that worked, basically. And then we did the same thing with some of our films also. So we had recently a run of Gurudutt films. Now, Gurudutt is an icon that has been heard of, to an extent that I can confidently say that even the newer generation knows about him as a person, him as a filmmaker, but they've probably not seen his movies.
True.
So what happened is that when he released his movies, we released around 5 of his movies in the theater. We did it like a festival line kind of a thing. And then people were like, let's go and watch Pyasa. Let's go and watch Sai Bibi Ghulam. Okay. And then there was another section of people who have seen his movies, but obviously theatrically they've not seen it for like 40 years now. If they did at any point in time, if those are the, if those are people who are in the 70s, 80s who probably saw it 40 years back, they came, people who've seen his movies digitally, but wanted to watch his movies on the bigger screen, restored version, those came. So restored version. Now, if you talk about restored version, that's basically becoming an interesting marketing point. Recently, another Parinita released in 8K, right? Theatrically. So that's become an interesting point that, now we're looking at an older film, a film that we like, but in a better quality on screen. So that again is driving, and that again is churning out the marketing that we're looking for.
So does that cost a bit more comparatively? Like, can I say I want to restore a film, colorize it? Is that going to cost me a lot?
I mean, it is an expensive process. It is an expensive process. I mean, it goes through an entire journey of depending on what format do you have it in. If you have it in a negative, or whether it's in a beta, digibeta, these are more physical formats. Whether the negative is the reel that you used to see earlier. So then it goes through various processes. For example, if it's a negative, then it goes to cleaning, scanning, restoring, color grading. So it's time consuming and it is challenging. Yeah, and it is a little expensive. Yeah.
But what's the benefit? Does the benefit outweigh the cons?
No, I think it's very beneficial. Like, so because we have these services that we do in-house. We have our studio of our own for this, which we call film preservation. We do that in-house also. So any film that comes to us, any old film that comes to us, we take it on ourselves to restore it and publicly exhibit it with on whatever format we're doing it. And even for a producer, for example, now if a producer has made a movie, I'm assuming that it would be close to him or her. So if that person can see that the quality of the film is deteriorating, or the quality of the visual quality is deteriorating, once you've restored it, it becomes like a lifelong asset. Then nothing can happen, because earlier a film could get spoiled, but something now that is stored on a pen drive will not get spoiled unless it gets pirated or what we call it, like bugged. But then also you'll have, I'm joking, but you'll have multiple copies of it, and it becomes a lifelong asset. It's an asset that you can pass on generation to generation if you still intend to keep on holding the rights to the movie.
And is YouTube the only distribution channel for a restored film?
No. So again, in fact, what we do is basically we try to put our restored films on our OTT platforms, so that again a viewer gets that kind of advantage when he or she is paying. Like if you're paying for an annual subscription, you're getting a better quality also vis-a-vis YouTube. And YouTube also has its own constraints of bitrate and all of that when you upload a film. So a better quality will definitely be seen on an OTT platform as opposed to YouTube actually. So it's the other way.
Could you actually mention some of these titles?
Again, so talking about the Gurudas films, then they're all available in restored formats. And why only those? I mean, even films that were made on film, the reel. Yeah. So the movies that were made on film, they're all scanned and restored because they all have a risk of getting deteriorated and depleted as time progresses. So all films, and we switched to the digital era, I think in 2010 or 2011. So majority of the films before that undergo that process or should undergo that process.
So we're moving on to the game segment of our podcast. So Rajat, I'm going to be giving you 2 placards. One says hype, the other says hoax. I'll be putting out a statement. All you have to do is just show the camera which placard you go with, and then elaborate just a little bit about why you're going with that one. Hype being you think it's worth the hype, and hoax being you think it's a hoax. So there you go. And we'll begin. So the first statement, algorithms now decide whether a film will be a hit or no more than the star itself.
I think it's neither algorithms nor, and in the modern era, I don't think it's the star either to that extent. I strongly feel it's the content.
So what do you think? It's the content, literally the content.
Literally the content, yeah. And which was missing for many years, but I think we're moving towards that time.
If only a lot more script writers thought that way, we'd have better films. Okay, so the second statement, short reels will make theaters irrelevant. I know we've already covered this, but I just want to know your take on it again. Hope.
No, definitely not. They're both going to exist, and theaters for sure are going to exist. I don't know what short reels, but theaters for sure are going to exist.
So you think they're going to coexist?
Yeah.
If no, okay. So for the third one, AI will replace human script writers eventually, completely.
I mean, yeah, to some extent, true. Yeah, it will require human touch to it, but that percentage of human touch that will be required will substantially reduce. It will probably just be the finishing part in which human involvement will make or break the script.
Just the fine touches.
Just the fine touches, yeah.
Fair enough. This one is a spicy one. Regional films will beat Bollywood within the next 5 years. And when I say regional, I'm talking about everything. Kannada, Telugu, Tamil films, or even Punjabi films to begin with.
So, why I'm saying that this might be correct is, if I understand the question correctly, collectively, yes. If you tell me one specific other Indian film industry will replace Bollywood or take over, I think that's a little far-fetched. But collectively, if I think there will be a time where people are going to lean towards watching content in the languages they speak. We're already seeing that with our own OTT platform, Ultra Jeffas, which is basically catering to the Marathi diaspora. There are so many other regional platforms that are also doing that today, and it's evident that there is a requirement for that. It is evident there is an audience for that. In terms of theatrical releases, you can already see that how well the Tamil and the Telugu industry is doing, how well the Malayalam industry is moving. The Punjabi industry has a very good international audience in Canada and Australia, New Zealand, these territories. Malayalam, which I was saying, has a very good base of audience in UAE, for example. So
Malayalam and UAE really?
Yes, it does. Again, see, we don't know about that, but it does. So there will be a time wherein the weightage of regional content is going to be very high.
Fair enough. So that concludes our first game segment. So for the second segment, I'll just be giving you 2 placards. This segment is basically me putting out a statement, and all you have to do is show the camera whether you agree or disagree with the statement, and then you'll have to elaborate why.
Okay.
Again, virality is more important than owning IP rights in today's time. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Virality?
Yes, chasing virality is more important than IP rights.
Disagree.
You disagree.
Virality is temporary.
Interesting and very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the second one, copying Western cinema is the right way to go for Bollywood at this moment.
Disagree.
Disagree.
It's not the right way, as I mentioned earlier also, that you can copy, like basically remake a few films, but it's not the right way to go as such. There needs to be originality, there needs to be stories that come out from the heartland of India. So you cannot just...
Is Bollywood following originality right now?
To some extent, yeah, definitely. There is a lot of originality. It's not like there is not a, but we are being a little influenced by the West. But yeah.
Okay, so for the fourth one, brand storytelling is the future of branding. The way a brand talks about their story, uses influencers, cinematography in their reels, in their production. That's the way a company will succeed in the future.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree?
I agree. And I feel that's been there for a while now. There are so many ads that still play in our head when we think of that brand, Like, for example, an Amul or... there are so many other brands.
Cred, for example.
Yeah, Cred. Yeah, in modern times, Cred. There are so many ads. And at the end of the day, it's entertainment, right? So audiovisual mediums, engaging audiovisual mediums for brands will always stay relevant.
Fair enough. So I think that concludes our segment. And I would like to thank Mr. Rajat for coming on and giving us insights from behind the scenes. Also, in case any of you would like to reach out to him, he'll give out his socials for us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can be reached out on LinkedIn. That's, I think, the easiest and the best way. And depending on what the topic of the message is, we can connect, and probably I can further connect you to some of the team.
Perfect. Cold DMs open?
I don't know. I don't know how often do I check them, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And thank you, Rajat.